How y'all doing? I'm Reginald Bullock here with Trey for Just Living Life, and this is our second
Yep.
time recording. So thank you for rejoining us. And Trey, what do you have to say?
I got a question. Like, should we call this episode 2 or episode 1? I had it personally as episode 1 because it was, the pilot was the last time. So that's why I just wanted to make sure. 'Cause you said 2, but they might have gotten confused. So I just want to make sure they understand. I was gonna classify it as episode 1. You got any problems with that?
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Now, the difference is though, suppose we edit it and break it into different sections.
Mm,
Like the first one we did was pretty long.
it was pretty
How
good.
many? How long was
I think I had like 23 to 26 segments out of that.
it? Yeah. So is each segment an episode?
It's like the overall thing would be an episode. Each one, each smaller piece, each smaller video would be a segment in itself. So that's what it'll be. But each overall video, like the long one, that hour long, 2 hour long,
So E1,
yeah,
S1, E1, S2,
yeah.
E1, S3. So this is E2.
This will be We'll make this one E1. Let's make this one E1.
What was the last one?
The pilot E0.
Okay. This is us, just living life here with Trey, and this is reality. And the thing that we wanted to do was to have two people who are not necessarily putting things together in a static way that, we rehearsed this for days and days and days, and now you're getting the show based on how we rehearsed it. No, you're getting authentic, real talk from real brothers who live real life because we just live it and we're sharing it with you. And what you just heard is an example of just how things come together.
Yeah.
That's the reality of how things come together in life. So,
Exactly. That was a very ad hoc question. It was a very ad hoc question I gave you, but because I remember, so when we were talking about hustler and intelligence stuff like that, I kind of think of like planning, right?
Mhm.
And so when I think of like foundation, that requires some planning. At least I would hope so, because
not everybody knows how to plan.
yeah,
That's a foundation in and of itself, right?
that's true.
How do you learn how to plan if nobody's ever taught you how to plan? Just because you can dribble a basketball and shoot, all right, at the park, but that's your basically the best you're ever going to be in that respect until you receive some other external forces
Mm,
or opportunities.
okay.
But if nothing or no one is helping you, then how you gonna get there?
Yeah, that's fair too. Okay, so maybe it might have been a little harsh then.
I mean, you can't necessarily predict 2030 right now, can you?
No, not really.
But there's a lot of intel and information out there currently that can help you to do that, but you haven't read it yet.
Right.
You haven't been exposed to it yet.
Right.
Your knowledge of generative AI may be here, where somebody else's knowledge of generative AI is here. And then in another country, they got robots that's doing this stuff every day that look like you and I, and you can't tell the difference. And so the point is, if you don't know that, then how can you have a conversation about that? Let alone plan for your house to be run by generative AI, and you can't even spell AI.
That's fair. I mean, so like using AI as like an example, right? I guess like I'm not an expert. I'm not an SME in using AI at all.
Then
But
this
like
is a good subject to talk about.
right. But like I also I've done a little bit of reading about it, so I understand with my business plan. Yeah, I'm not an SME, subject matter expert, by the way. I just want to make sure I throw that out there. But like I don't want to make sure like I don't know it, but I see how it can apply to my business. So that's what I'm thinking.
Because you have a business mind.
Mm,
You worked for a major Big Four consulting firm. You graduated from a prominent college.
mm,
And so your journey, your foundation, if you will,
mm,
gives you the information,
mm.
the data, and the intelligence to be able to understand the things that another person may not be able to understand because
Okay.
they have not had that exposure or experience.
Okay. Okay.
So for those,
Everybody.
so for those people who grew up like me,
Mm,
who didn't have money,
mm,
didn't have a father,
mm.
and didn't have access to a lot of stuff, is that a shaky foundation?
I was gonna say I don't think that's
or is
shaky.
that just the best we have at the time?
Yeah, I wouldn't classify that as shaky. The reason why you can have hard work ethic. whether you're in your situation or upbringing or my upbringing.
I agree.
So your foundation is what you make of it. You can be privileged and trash, or you can be poor and very successful. So I mean that when I think foundation, it's more of an internal thing. Yes, your supporting cast definitely helps shape and mold you. Like, for example, I know I don't necessarily care to be detailed oriented, but I know for a fact I can be because I was trained to do that. My
Right.
dad was in the military, so all right, I
So
got
you
to
have a
make sure I sleep
foundation of
under. You
being
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, so I get that part, but I also had to make sure I carried it with me. But I just admit it. I
That's a
don't.
choice.
Yeah, and I just admit it. I did not like it, but something about whatever happened growing up reminded me. Well, I guess I can see the benefit in it. So
That's your choice.
yeah, so
Not all people choose to embrace or keep some of the things that they've been trained in,
mhm,
and that's their choice too.
yeah, but I just wanted to say that because it when I was saying earlier about shaky foundation, I'm glad you kind of spoke about that real
Mhm.
quick because yeah, like it's more about the person itself, the person themselves,
If we're
not their
talking about
environment.
people, yeah, I mean, some foundations appear to be shaky, but if they have no control and no choices of the matter,
Mhm.
all right. So you could be looked at as shaky. I look at it as unfortunate
It's
or different, or they just didn't have the means that this person had.
yeah,
I mean,
just different motivating in
if
the
my
way.
parents had millions of dollars when I wanted to be a DJ at age 12,
Mhm.
and me and Grandmaster Flash and Jazzy Jeff would be competing right now. But I didn't have any of that.
Right.
I had to save my money up for 2 years to go to Radio Shack with my $59, right? So the point is that the foundation that you have is your starting point.
Hmm.
And to your point, do you build or expand?
Hmm.
Well, you can do both. You can grow, but it's still your choice.
Yeah, that's true. You got to move intelligent about that though. I don't think you want to just be expanding all willy nilly. I
But
don't
you
know.
don't
That's
know.
but like some, I don't know.
Man, most people that have ever been in business have got their stories of trials and errors.
But they've done some due diligence though, and like some
Steve
people
Harvey
don't.
lived in his car. Stephanie Hash lived in her car.
I'll tell you, yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
Tiffany had,
Tiffany,
yeah,
Tiffany
yeah.
had. I'm thinking of
But they had, I think they,
Stephanie Mills. Stephanie Mills. I don't even want to talk about her situation, but you know, they got their stories, man.
do you think they envision? Because I feel like I wanted to be like stand up comedy. You know what I'm saying? It seems nice, it seems appealing. It's still kind of on the itinerary,
Go
maybe
for it.
slightly. But like even in that, I kind of have a vision of okay, well, this is what I want things to be like. So like I would be building on top of the foundation. Like all right, so in terms of jokes, here's what my script would be. Not like I'm gonna be reading it off, but like this is what I want to talk about. These are my
You
topics,
should
all
have
this
all of
stuff.
that.
And I feel like that's part of that
And then when your
foundation.
plan fail, when experience and the lessons kick in,
Mhm.
you learn more from the things you do wrong than the things you do right.
Yeah.
Military has millions and billions of dollars worth of concept operations and plans and strategies and everything, that we can just pull off the shelf. But the moment war kicks off, that stuff don't work all the time.
Yeah,
And it's the same way with life.
that's true. That's true.
So you can have all of the strategies and plans, and it doesn't do what you're supposed to do. I mean, I wrote a book. It hasn't made $1 million yet. Supposed to.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I wrote another one. And it hasn't made $1 million. So I wrote two more. I got 4 books. And together, none of them have made $1 million yet, right? But my strategy, my plan, and everything I wrote, I can sit there with an Excel spreadsheet and all right, if I sell 10 books, I get this. If I sell 10,000, I get this. If I sell, 1,000, I get, we all can do the math.
Mhm.
But life in reality has a whole different lesson waiting for
Yeah. And I mean, I guess to your point about not knowing what people can do or like how something can go in terms of like building foundation, I do. Like I met somebody who's actually telling me they want to write their own book,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, you know what? That's interesting because I know somebody who actually writes a bunch of books. Like
Mhm.
like he's an author, my boy. He's like I got you plugged in, but he probably wouldn't have known. So I might have just met some random guy who knows an author, and
Mhm.
I can get him connected, and give him some advice, something like that. Like I might try to plan for it, but no one plans for that. Like you don't. At least I'm not trying to necessarily plan
Because
for
you're
that.
just living life.
Exactly.
So the point of this whole show, you're just living life.
Yep. But you're also building upon the thing that you've learned throughout that
That's
history.
part of living life.
That's intelligence. That's hustling. And I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't recognized by now, each episode is probably going to build on top of one another.
The strategy.
You know what I mean? Like math, like math. I ain't like math growing up, but daggone it, I was in them classes, them advanced classes, like pre-cal in high school. I was really irritated with that back in the day.
I'm not even going to tell you what my highest level of math in high school was, but calculus definitely wasn't on the agenda.
I won't try to have it be in mine either. I promise you.
We were just trying to graduate, man.
Nah, I feel that.
Algebra 2 was hard.
It's a little noise. It was a little noise. I'm about to say that sounds like a good way to end the show right there. I don't
It's
know.
all entertainment until it's not.
Exactly.
Because when it's not, it's actually living life.
That's a quality one. That's a quality one, ladies and gentlemen. But listen, thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed it so far. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone who's anyone about the show. My name is Trey, and as you heard earlier, this is Reggie. And we're just on just living life. That's what we on today. So hope you all enjoyed it. Take care.
Yo, yo.
Yo, yo.